Yeah, a couple things right at the beginning. Moon back in training, ready to go. Cheeky, uh, I think that the concern, we're in good shape. It's better than we thought. He's still a question mark for this game, but overall, he's back on his feet and doing pretty well. Ready to go for now. The team ready to go to Vancouver. Really important game. Yes, 15 games to go. Not the spot we want to be in, but a real commitment of little details and a strong finish. In football, things sometimes come at you in ways that you better be ready. And if you think about everything that we've done starting in 2018 as a first-year team, our identity in terms of the football and some of the incredible games we've produced, nights we've had in Banc of California, none of us are happy about being in a spot we're in the moment. If you look at the standings in the West, we're nowhere near where we should be. But there's 15 games. I repeat all the time, there's football details. There's sharpness of players. There's sharpness of thinking. There's execution with advantages. So improvement comes in all of those ways. Any people that spend any time looking at metrics and numbers know that there's a lot of things that look good, but we haven't been sharpest in key moments in both attack and defense, and so that's the focus.
Just how the connections in the midfield have been looking. Sifu coming off the bench in the game against Atlanta. How do you see him as his development in a guy who can connect the box to box in the midfield for LAFC?
Sifu has probably been the number one guy this year that we've seen really move up, improve, show people what he's all about. He didn't start in Atlanta because when he came off against San Jose, there was some tightness in the hamstring. There was just concern to play it safe. I thought when he came on in the second half, that part really helped the team. He's shown that he can play different roles in the midfield. He can play as an 8 when we play with a real midfield 3, and he can also go higher. He's played closer to the 2 strikers in moments we've played 3-4-1-2. But if you look at everything that's happened this year, 5 goals and just improvement, Sifu probably is number 1 on the list.
Just follow up with the Atlantic game. We just saw it when we were watching on TV and the light that was coming in. We obviously knew they had to leave that open for precautionary issues. But how difficult was that to play with that big block of light coming through on that one side of the field?
It wasn't ideal, but to be honest, when I've gone back through the game over and over, it was far worse when you're watching it, whether it's the overhead tactical camera or whether it was the TV camera. Yeah, it was weird in terms of the decision, the shadows, but it probably looked worse on TV, Max.
And just a question about Chicho and his development. How have you seen him going from game to game as he has immersed himself into the team?
Picking up ideas, getting fit, trying to get sharper. So those are the things that we're working with him on every day.
Thanks, Bob.
Thanks, Max. And Bob, another one here for me. You know, you've got some young guys that have gotten some great on-pitch minutes of late. You know, someone that comes to mind, Mamadou Fall. You know, what have you seen in training, especially this week? You know, in terms of the confidence of some of these younger rotation players getting minutes on the pitch.
Yeah, let's just talk about Fall. Since he's been back training regularly with the first team, you can see him growing every day. He trained a lot with the first team, and then there was a stretch where he spent more time with the second team just so he could be ready and get those important games. And then since he's been back every day with the first team, his confidence, obviously the way he shows his teammates what he's all about. And for a young player in his first start in Atlanta, he played really well. And I spoke after the game about the disallowed goal. But in all ways, his confidence, his passing, a really, really good first start for a talented young guy.
Thanks, Bob. Jose Lopez.
Thank you, Ben. Hi, Bob. Good afternoon. I want to ask you about Daniel Cristofono. What are you talking from him on Sunday, and how has he been doing on training in this short period of time?
Danny was an important player with Las Vegas. And, you know, as I watched all those games, I was just impressed with, in the midfield, his clarity of what he's doing, seeing passes quickly. He's very quick at dealing with little situations defensively around him, recovering a ball, closing down a passing angle. And I thought he came on the field the other day and did all those things. So it's a player who's worked really hard. He took the opportunity to come to Vegas hoping that he could do enough and maybe work his way into our first team, and that's what's happened. So we're all pretty proud of the way he has gone after this thing.
Alex, go ahead.
Thanks, Ben. Hi, Will. How are you today? I would like to ask you about Chiqui, how it is for the next game. Thank you.
Yeah. The news is positive. Doesn't seem to be as bad as it looked when he came off the field. He's on his feet. He's moving around. And he's questionable for this weekend. But overall, I think things, in terms of him getting back quickly, look positive.
Back to you, Max.
Thank you, Ben. I was watching the Vancouver game last night, Bob, and it was a real big win for them. It was great to see Marcos Santos. He had a big fist pump on the sidelines. I know we all feel really good for how that team has started to gain some traction. But this weekend, when you look at them, how different are they from earlier in the season? I don't know how much you watched, but it would appear things are clicking. The two Colombian guys out wide can do a lot. How do you see it? Maybe particularly, rephrase that front three and Brian White, who's more a traditional number 9, a more traditional center forward. How have you seen that attack progress, and how dangerous can they be?
Yes, that was the front three when we played them. So speed on both sides. Brian White is a smart player, a little bit of a hold-up type number 9, brings other guys into the game. And then obviously last night you saw a little bit of what Ryan Gold can bring when he comes on the field, sort of in a 10 role. So I think we're all impressed with the progress that Vancouver has made as a team. And now this is the first home game that they've had in a long time. And there's some excitement going on there, so we're ready for a very tough match.
Is this the first time you're going to stamp your passports in a while as well, LAFC, I would imagine?
It is the first time in a long time. Exactly right.
Thanks again, Bob.
Josh Gross.
Hey, thanks. Bob, I'm wondering about after this match and the week that's in front of you, is it a full regular week of training, and are you going to be able to participate in everything you want to, or are you going to have to take some time off because you have all-star duties? Can you talk about that?
No, I'll manage both things together. We'll continue training to prepare for the game against the Galaxy. Obviously, we come back from Vancouver, I believe, on Sunday because it's not possible to come back right after the game. Off the top of my head, we are off Monday, and then we have Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday training before we play the Galaxy on Saturday. And we also have all-star training on Tuesday, the match on Wednesday, so there's some things there. But we'll continue to have a normal week here, and the only change will be the guys that are involved in the All-Star game.
Clearly you have to get through the game in Vancouver, but once you do that and you have this, I don't want to call it a distraction, but you have to be occupied with something else. This, regardless of the result in Vancouver, is this sort of like a fortuitous moment for you to sort of have a different distraction? You've been locked in trying to get the team right and having the team respond, just to sort of have this other thing going on. Is that a positive, a negative? How do you view it?
Not fortuitously. So it is what it is. I think most people that know me realize that the work that goes into trying to push our guys along and encourage and support and get the right trainings and the right tone in meetings, that's going to continue. It's still an honor to be involved with the All-Star Game and for 2 days organize that group, figure out how we can organize, in effect, 2 teams because you're not going to push anybody in a crazy way minute-wise on Wednesday night in the middle of a important stretch for all teams. But still, it's a night where for MLS, getting on the field, producing some really good football, making a really good match, trying to win, those things will be the key when the whistle blows on Wednesday. But other than some moments like all-star training and a little bit of organizational stuff, the rest of the focus will be on getting ready for the Galaxy.
Sure. And last from me, this will be the second away game in a row on unofficial turf. Is that particularly taxing? We've heard so much about the difference between natural turf and artificial. 2 in a row on artificial turf for you. Are you expecting a larger recovery period afterwards? What's the effect of that?
Are you trying to get me in trouble with Merritt Paulson again?
I'm not trying to do anything, Bob.
Okay. Look, I've spoken about turf. When I speak about it, just to be clear, it's not something that I speak about on a day where maybe the result doesn't go our way or anything like that. That's just not where I'm coming from. The game is not the same on turf. So I'll give one quick example. If for the last 15 to 17 years, every time we had the chance to watch Messi, in my opinion, the greatest player ever, where he has brought so much joy to all of us whenever he steps on the field. If every one of those games in the last 15 to 17 years happened on artificial turf, he'd still be the greatest player of all time, but guess what? We wouldn't have had as many moments of pure joy. And so that's just me as a football person expressing an opinion. When you prepare your team, you try to make sure there's an understanding that there's certain football things we try to do every game, whether it's artificial, whether it's a good grass field, bad grass field, whether the field has been watered so the ball moves quicker, whether the field weeks earlier had an event and isn't in as good a shape. There's things that you try to do every game. And then there are other things that you try to help your group understand sometimes in the way the game is going to play out that they better be ready for. And so, a game against a good Vancouver team on turf, there's going to be moments of recoveries, loose balls, balls where now which team can react faster, be on top of it. And then in those moments, you got to produce the football that wins games. All right? Will every part of the game, in my opinion, have the same quality that it would have if Vancouver had, downtown, this beautiful stadium that they have with a grass field that's a little bit wet and everything else? It's a topic nobody wants to speak about. I know for sure that if you asked all the players in the league, I know what they would say if they were open. So, yes, it's a little different, but it's part of it, And so you get ready for every game and make sure your players understand the details of the opponent, the details of what the field will be like, and what you think the game will play out like. So that's what you do as you prepare your team every week.